So you're ready to start investing in real estate, but you're wondering, what are the mistakes that I need to avoid? Stay tuned. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is real estate investing. And as an investor myself, I'm going to take you through the top 3 mistakes that I think you need to avoid and certainly be aware of. Hey there, my name is Brennen. I'm your favorite Seattle area realtor, and investing in real estate is one of my favorite subjects. It's something that I love to do because I'm chasing that goal that a lot of us are chasing to reach financial freedom, to be able to work when I want and why I want to. And without real estate investing, I don't think that's possible for me particularly. And if you think the same thing, I'd love to know in the comments. If you're thinking about stepping into real estate investing, go ahead and drop a comment before we get into these 3 mistakes. Now, real estate investing can be both chaotic and time consuming, but it can also be really rewarding. It's one of the best ways to build wealth, and it's certainly one that I advocate for as a real estate agent myself and an investor myself. So today I want to talk you through 3 common mistakes that investors make when they're buying rental property and see how you can make sure to sidestep those mistakes. Let's get right into the content with these 3 mistakes. Mistake number 1 is ignoring rental restrictions. This is a huge factor because this is what your entire portfolio hinges on. You want to be able to rent it out. Whether you're thinking of short-term rentals or long-term rentals, there can be restrictions in place that you need to think about. So when you're working with a real estate agent, when you're going out to purchase, make sure that they're aware of what your intentions are with the property. Even if you plan to stay in the property for maybe 1 year, 2 years, and then rent it out, make sure they know that so they can help you be aware of all the restrictions that are in place so that you can avoid this big mistake. Now, with condos, if you're thinking about a condo because of the lower upfront costs, this can be a really great place to start as an investment, but condos have homeowner associations or HOAs. And often these HOAs have restrictions about how long you can rent the unit, so a minimum number of days. Most condo HOAs are 30 days, 6 months, or 12 months rental, and they require the HOA board to approve that you have that rental contract in place. So this can be really tricky if you are thinking about more of a short-term rental. There are certain buildings, specifically in Seattle and around the country, that allow short-term rentals, but they are much fewer and far between because this is harder for an HOA to manage. Often HOAs do not see the benefit of having a short-term rental. So you want to be aware of that, and you want to go in and make sure that you look at all of the rules and regulations of the condo before you actually purchase and validate that you can use this in the way you want to when you're renting it out. And it's not just condos. Townhomes can also have rental restrictions. There may be restrictions in place for a minimum in the CC&Rs, but there also could be a restriction where you have to live in the property for a certain number of months or years before you can eventually rent it out. This applies both to townhomes and condos. So really it's important to do your due diligence before you make that purchase. Understand where you can actually rent, where it's not against the rules, how long you want to rent for, and if that's applicable or allowed in that home that you're planning to purchase. Always review the HOA condos and conditions and make sure to be careful about what you're looking for, because skipping this step could leave you in the worst possible situation with a home that you can no longer rent out. So make sure you check on these. And side note on this mistake, sometimes these regulations can change. So be aware of that there are changes that can take place over time. An HOA may change their mind about their rental restrictions. A group of townhomes in their CC&Rs may change their mind. So you really need to be aware that this could change and also have a backup plan if that happens. So mistake number 2 is not doing your neighborhood research. Now, this may seem pretty basic, but it will surprise you how many people don't do this. Speaking from experience, I'm Seattle based, and Seattle is full of micro markets, micro neighborhoods that each have their own different vibe and their own feel, and therefore will attract different type of renters. For example, in Capitol Hill or South Lake Union, you have a younger tech vibe where people may be walking to work or want to go out in the city more often. Whereas in West Seattle or Ballard, other neighborhoods, you're going to have more families renting who like that quieter vibe. They like the proximity to schools and the neighborhood feel. So these are all really important things to think about. You also have to think about who is your target renter. Are you trying to rent to a family who wants to get into the school district, or are you trying to rent to a young tech worker who maybe only wants to be there 1 or 2 years in a 1-bedroom condo, for example? These are all really important things to think about. So take your time to research the amenities of the neighborhood, what type of rental saturation there already is, so what other rentals already exist, what are the commute times, and what are some of the other neighborhood amenities for your target demographic. This is really important because you want to see what other rentals are renting for in the neighborhood. So go online and search rentals in that neighborhood to figure out what types of homes are renting, how quickly they're staying on the market or going off the market rather, and then what the prices are like. You want to know what that price is going to be that you can ultimately recoup on your rental. Okay, number 3, forgetting to factor in those monthly costs. Finally, let's talk about the numbers. Now, oftentimes, and I've been a victim of this before as well, you might forget to factor in some of those smaller monthly costs. These are really important because these cut into the profit that you're going to make on the rental. If you're buying a property with the intent to rent it out, it's not just the initial investment that matters. These costs are really important to making sure that you can make the amount of money you are projecting. So let's talk first about property management. If you're not the one planning to manage the property, you may want a property manager. And their fees can range anywhere from 8 to 12% of your rental income per month on long-term rentals. If you're looking at a short-term rental where there's more management, more turnover, you're probably looking at closer to 25% of the total rental income per month. These are big numbers, so it's really important to factor this in from the beginning if you're actually thinking about using a property manager. Sometimes you don't have to if you have experience in real estate, or if you might be able to find that tenant on your own or do some of the repairs or coordinate the repairs. Maybe you don't need a property manager. I know in Washington state, the tenant laws are very strict, so it's really important to make sure you're following those if you're trying to find a renter. Now, beyond that, that's just one piece of the puzzle. Don't forget about other expenses. You have ongoing maintenance. Typically, you have landscaping. You might have HOA dues. You may have those utility costs like internet, electricity. All of those things are going to start to add up, and you need to know what you're going to pay monthly in those maintenance costs, because that's ultimately going to cut into that profit that you have. Unless you're passing those utilities on to the renter, that's going to be something that you're going to be paying every single month in addition to your mortgage. So don't forget that. You want to make sure to calculate these costs carefully before deciding on which investment you want to go with. You want to ensure your property will still earn as much as you wanted after you've paid all of these costs. Let's do a quick recap of the 3 mistakes. You want to make sure that you're researching the rental restrictions. Don't get stuck in a property where you don't have the ability to rent it out, or maybe that changes really quickly. Number 2, make sure to do that research. Really dive into what the lifestyle will be like in the neighborhood that you're searching in and what you think the target demographic renter will be in that neighborhood. This is really important, not only for purchasing the home, but for later on when you decide to rent it out and for marketing to those renters. And finally, number 3, don't underestimate those monthly costs. Think through every single line item that you're going to have in maintaining the home. Whether you've owned a property before or this will be your first one, it's really important to think through and research what are those monthly costs and what do you think those will be. Let me know in the comments below if you think that I've missed anything here in terms of the top 3 mistakes or part of these mistakes. I'd love to know what you think. If you're considering investing in Seattle, I'd love to help you, so don't hesitate to reach out. You can text or email me directly with this contact information in the description below. I would love to help you, whether you're 6 months or 12 months or less away from thinking about getting into that first investment. I would love to guide you through the process and help you not only avoid these mistakes, but avoid other mistakes that I've made along the way as well. And if you like this video or you found any of the information useful, please like and subscribe to our channel for all of our future videos around real estate, investing, and Seattle. And I super appreciate you coming along to watch this video today. Thanks for your time and attention, and I hope you'll come back for the next one. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again next time.